when I was a young man, I got told that if you just work harder, if you just work hard enough, that you could do anything. Okay. And so every time I lost, those first like 5 years of my wrestling journey, everything would just double. Every time I lost, I would just double down on hard work, which is incredible. And so you become incredibly motivated. You're like, hey, this is cool. I know if I work harder, I win. You have the prompt, but you don't really have the ability. You don't really know what is the thing to do forward. And right now in this age of information, everything, it creates busyness, it creates distraction. There's so many techniques like, what do I do? What do I not do? Who do I listen to? Who do I not listen to? Okay, guys, hey, I'm excited about today, man. One of the big things that we want to do today, we have so much content to film for you. This is a rabbit hole of new ideas, of really, really cool things. One of the things that we're getting the most questions about is like, how do I implement this? And that's the inevitable conclusion that everybody's going to have is you go, the more you learn, the more you realize that there's so much to learn, and you go, what do I do with this? And it becomes about programming, right? Everybody knows how to work out. Everybody spent years and years and years working out, okay? And so when the whole workout game, the fitness industry is not about exercises anymore. It's about programming. It's not about being active. Everybody knows that if you work out and you eat good food, that you get in better shape. But the conversation has led to programming. And then what they really do is like physical therapy and personal trainers and all this. The conversation becomes about what you need specific to you based on your goals, right? Every Hollywood actor has a personal trainer, and this personal trainer helps make them look like the character that they're supposed to look like, right? This guy goes from being, a regular Joe to looking like Achilles in the movie scene, right? And so that's really what we want to do. We want to help equip the coaches. We want you guys to understand, like, what does this look like? Because you get in methods and there's so much, and it's so cool because you're learning new stuff, learning new stuff. But ultimately, what we want is for you to have kind of to understand the runway up ahead. What does the roadmap ahead look like? And if you can back up, when you're zoomed in, you're up close, you can't really see the forest for the trees. But when you back out and you get back out of it, you can see this 40,000 foot view, and it all starts to make sense. And so that's really the goal today is we want to share that. We want to equip you wherever, if you're a coach in this, okay, if you catch a snippet of this somewhere else, wherever you are in your journey or in your relationship connection to us, we want you to understand this because what happens is wrestling creates this it's the best thing ever. It's the best thing ever for young people. It's the most entrepreneurial sport ever. It's the purest sport. If you're in the sport, you already know, you're already red-pilled on it, okay? But there's so much. There's a reason that wrestling was in Genesis, okay? It's a pure sport, just like when you eat whole foods. It's a whole pure sport. And so there's all this amazing stuff that comes from it. But one of the things that when there's not clarity on what to do, then it creates real frustration. So we talk about this process that happens when you lose, when you don't have a clear path forward. You just start working harder. And then every time you fail, it starts to create this identity crisis, right? And so I'm obsessed with this. And let me just help you understand the story, right? Because when I was a young man, I got told that if you just work harder, if you just work hard enough, that you can do anything, okay? And so every time I lost, those first like 5 years of my wrestling journey, everything would just double. Every time I lost, I would just double down on hard work, which is incredible. And so you become incredibly motivated. You're like, hey, this is cool. I know if I work harder, I win. You have the prompt, but you don't really have the ability. You don't really know what is the thing to do forward. And right now in this age of information, everything, it creates busyness, it creates distraction. There's so many techniques like, what do I do? What do I not do? Who do I listen to? Who do I not listen to? And so it's kind of the same way. If you go to the gym, it's like there's so many things you could do. You could almost get overwhelmed by the volume of knowledge. That's the fitness world works like that. We want to create clarity for in wrestling. We want to help you as the coach understand what this looks like, 40,000 foot. This is going to all make things make sense. But then we also want to be able to transfer that to the athlete and eventually get them to understand, because as we can teach them not just what to think, but how to think. And so the goal today is to help you not just understand what to think, but how to think about wrestling, how to make sense out of all the chaos. Where do these things fit in the puzzle? And then you can build out from there. Okay, so we're going to talk about kind of 4 or 5, really like 6 levels of this, but I want to help you make sense of it. And then what we're doing weekly is we're filming a lot of this content. We have we do this every day, but filming it, documenting it, producing it for you guys, it takes time, it takes money, it takes resources, right? And so we're slowly getting there, but I want to start to equip you guys so you can think, because you already know a lot of wrestling. If you're seeing this, you already know some wrestling, okay? And so we want to help you to plot out what you do know, and then invite you to take steps forward into the pool, okay? And so this is not a swimming pool idea. We always say that the pool is deep, right? And the pool is deep when it's 4 feet. The pool, if you're in a cold tub, the pool, it's deep when you get knee deep. That feels deep when the water's cold, okay? But you get in a swimming pool that's 6, 7, 8 feet deep. It's like, oh, that's the deep end of the pool. But we use deep to describe the ocean. I was out fishing one time, and they told me that it was how many miles down it was. They said you could take Mount Everest and turn it upside down and submerge it, and it wouldn't even be sticking out of the water in this like shelf that we were fishing off of in the Virgin Islands. And I was a young man. I was 18 years old on our senior trip. And then we found out that our boat was taking on water. And so I started to freak out because this is not deep like the swimming pool. I know how to swim, but we're 25 or so miles out off of an island, and it was thousands of feet deep. And so I started bugging a little bit. I was like, we need to get this bad boy back to shore before this boat sinks. And so this is a deep thing. It continues to go forward. We just want to help you understand the mechanism, okay? So here we go. Step one, I've got here written out what I would call a signature offense, okay? And so we're gonna really call today signature offense all the way through. And this is the app that I use for these things, okay? And so I'm going to expand. But what you see here is you see 4 funnels, okay? And you're going to see 4 colors. You see green, yellow, orange, red, okay? And so this is, again, I do this literally from my iPad. This is my notes. If you want this workflow, let us know. We'll send you all the stuff. I crazy recommend this to coaches, leaders, teachers. Like, this thing's awesome. I'm not even really an Apple person per se, but I love this iPad and this Good Notes app. Okay, so what you see here are the 4 funnels, okay? And so we have funnels and finishes. We have our 4 attacks. We have the green positions here, are basically the bottom half of the funnel, right? You have the yellow positions up top. You have the orange positions, and then red positions. Green is good. Yellow is headed to good. So green is good. Red is bad. Green is good. Red is bad. Yellow is headed to good. Orange is headed to bad, right? That should help you understand. You see, we want everything flowing through this, throwing through our 4 best attacks. This is called constraint theory. And so one of the real challenges is that you really can't write a perfect curriculum. We believe in what's called a menu. A menu is helping understand where you are in the journey. Where are you in your coaching journey? Where's your athlete? Where are your weaknesses, right? And so for years and years, wrestling was called chain wrestling. It's chain wrestling. Hey, you got to link the move. You got to chain wrestle. Well, we got to understand, there's value to accentuating our strengths, okay? And there's value to getting rid of our weaknesses. The weak link in the chain breaks it all, right? And so the chain idea, chain wrestling is really good. It's a fundamental understanding, I would say. If you get it really deep into this theory, okay, you're going to get into what's called constraint theory, okay? So as we start to look at this, we can see the bottlenecks. Here we've got our 4 funnels, and as we expand, as that narrow pipe expands, more things are able to flow through it, okay? The best guy in the world, maybe the history of the world, is this guy named Elon Musk at constraint theory. That's how he's built Tesla. That's how he's built SpaceX. Is how he's rebranded, redeveloped X, and he's been like all involved in all the things. He's probably the best producer on a production line in a factory in the world. He is the best in the world, and he's really probably the best in the history of the world. Okay, and so because he gets to stand on the shoulders of everyone else. So we want to help you understand what this looks like. Okay, so step 1, we're going to go through our 4 green attacks. Okay, and so what we believe these should be. This is the signature thing. I don't want to call it standard. Standard is like, oh, it's kind of low level. Like, no, this is a more intelligent approach already if you just do this, okay? So we start with 2-on-1. 2-on-1 because this is the first piece of contact, is that you can get to a man's wrists and elbows. This is step 1. This is the first thing that we teach. It's not what we always did. We actually used to do meat hooks because meat hooks is a little better for learning the single leg and double leg. But we started 2-on-1 is first. 2-on-1, 2-on-1, 2-on-1 because it helps your athlete to have great defense and great offense without being in bad position. So 2-on-1 is first, okay? So we would go through our 4 attacks, these 4 buckets, if you will. Okay, you see the bucket here in the middle. We have 2-on-1, I have single leg, I have double leg, and I have snap down front headlock over here on the right. That's what we're looking at there, okay? And so the first thing we would do, level 1, is we would say that these are our 4 attacks. This gives us an attack to the arms, okay, an upper body attack, really 2 leg attacks, two upper body attacks and 2 lower body attacks. We need an attack to both legs. We have that in our single leg and double leg, okay? And I would use double leg, not high crotch. Some people say head outside single leg. I really like double leg first, and I would tell you a lot of reasons why. I think everything should really be a single leg or double leg, because a head outside single, a high crotch, is really just a single leg with your head off of the center. If you roll your head back inside and get your head on assignment in the center of the position, then you're actually on a single leg again. So we like single leg, double leg. This is we're way down the rabbit hole in this, obviously, okay? But this is a very, if you disagree, I would call it the circle of knowledge, right? Circle looks like this, okay? And even a broken clock, if you look at it like a clock, okay, at 12 o'clock, even a broken clock is right twice a day. But if we have an agreement, if we think 12 and if we say 12 and you say 2, right? Like we're just a little off. And so I would just invite you to keep coming with us, keep coming with us, keep coming with us. So I don't mean to be dogmatic about any of these ideas, but just keep coming into the water and you're going to see how it starts to all come together, okay? We want to invite you in. So 2-on-1, single leg, double leg, snap down. That's first. And then we would immediately list out all of so step 1 would be listing out our 4 attacks. I think this is the classic that would be applicable to everyone. Every wrestler should at least have these 4 things. And then later we would subdivide this and make it more signature. That's kind of where we're going in this conversation, okay? So 2-on-1, we have the 4 attacks. Then I would immediately start having my wrestlers understand what attacks, what finishes, there's the 4 attacks, what finishes the bottom half of the funnel do they know? And so we'd start listing those out, right? You see 2-on-1 and it starts we would start listing that thing out. If I go back a couple pages, I have like an underhook, and this is in my offense. And you can see how I start listing these out, okay? And if you get on our page, if you get in methods, you're going to find a lot of these funnels we have filmed, okay? And we've got 14 finishes, but start out with what they know, okay? So that's kind of level 1. Boom, level 1 would be listing out what they know, okay? And then we would continue to move forward with, let me make sure that I'm not skipping in my notes here. Yeah, what finishes do you know? And then once we've done that, make sure I'm jumping around correctly. So we would say, I'm back on Coach Jake's offense. I moved my things out of order. So the first thing we do is, what are our 4 attacks? So what are the finishes that we know? Okay. And then we would say, what are our attacks on top that we know? So it's 1, 4 attacks. 2, the finishes that we know. And then 3 would be we would work on what are our finishes on top? What are our pinning moves that we have on top? This would be top. Everything below the line here is, I've gotten the takedown and now I'm on top. The position has changed to on the mat here, right? Everything down here below this line is on the mat. What are my pinning attacks do I know? We believe at Ironclad that every technique worth working on should have pinning and tilting properties. Pinning means that if I get this right one time, that I can end the match. They're terminal, they're fatal positions. So we want to work on our cross. We like cross face far elbow a lot. This is incredibly cross face far elbow and low shoulder and side control. We would kind of start with like those 3, and then we start building in our wing. I like the wing even before the half. Then we get to half, and then we start getting to cross wrist. So I don't have them maybe in the exact order that I would probably program them from. If you're looking at a blank canvas, I would go again, cross face elbow, low shoulder, side control, 1, 2, 3. Then I would come back to wing 4, half 5, cross wrist 6. Okay. And we start building into these things. Those would be the order of skills that I would program into my team because of how widely applicable they are, how simple they are to understand, and how they allow you to scaffold and get to higher level of understanding, because you develop some certain skills, you acquire some really small skills that are going to translate to these more common techniques like wing, half, cross wrist that make those things way better. So travel that journey with us, okay? That's going to kind of map out our green positions. We recommend that we say you have to have 2 is 1, 1 is none. So you have to have at least 2 finishes under all 4 attacks from your feet, and all 4 and all whatever many attacks you have on top. You don't even again, 2 is 1, 1 is none. If you don't have 2, then you really have nothing to do with that attack. And we recommend 3. We recommend 3 or more. Okay. So list out what that is, And so let's say an athlete's got 3, 4, 5 of these here. We would say, hey, go study 2-on-1 some more and learn everything that you think there is, and learn all these moves. Because when you learn all 14 and you start trying to drill all 14 moves, then you're going to start to learn faster and faster and faster. You kind of develop the pattern of the thing. I really love this idea. My pastor one time, Gabriel, he said he's read the Bible many, many times, and he was talking about how he had some pastor friends and they were on this kind of blitz. They were trying to read the whole Bible in a month. And so he listened to the Bible at like 2 and 3x speed. Usually I was even 4x speed. And so because he had read it, he understood, like, it's like a movie that you're watching in fast forward, right? You've seen the movie enough times and you watch it in fast forward, you see the ebbs and flows of the storyline. And he was talking about how you see the pattern of the movements different. When you drill all 14 of these, you're going to start to see the pattern of the movements as you drill. And that helps us to start to understand, like, that all these things can be simplified. So we would say 2-on-1, we learn, once you got your 3, 4 that you do know, become exposed, become aware to all of them, right? To all of them. That would be the next phase in that, okay? And the green is important because if I can get to any of my green positions, if I'm confident in these things, they're green, then the position favors me and I can finish the match. I can pin this guy. If I just get to my 2-on-1 one time, then I can pin this guy because I'm going to go 2-on, single leg, I'm going to finish on top, I'm going to go crossface far elbow and win the match. So even if I'm getting my butt kicked and I'm down by 12, if I get to this 2-on-1 one time, I can pin him. I'm not looking for outcome. I don't have to pin him. I don't need the outcome. I just need to get to my 2-on-1 because if I get there, everything beyond that's going to be automatic. So we talk about we plant a flag somewhere, but we kind of build this in reverse. You want to build the back end first, okay? Once we understand these green positions and we've laid in some offense and we start to like what we've got filled in on this, okay? Again, right now they're just scratches on the paper, but as you start to write in what that really looks like for you, then we would work on the red positions. Because if we know that we can pin people, then we can win. And we know if we know how to defend red positions, which are basically the opposite of green positions, okay? Green positions are all the ways that we pin them. And so red positions would be, what are the ways that they're going to try to pin us? If we know how to escape pins, like we're not ever going to get pinned, then it keeps us alive in the match, and we have a chance to get to a position where we could end the match. So we go green positions, and then we start to understand red positions. The red positions are what you're going to see in the bottom defensive playbook. That's where these red positions exist. We have so many of these filmed, and I think we have another clip of a lot of that on one of our pro calls that we did recently. So many of these red positions we broke down so that your athlete has 1, 2, 3 ways to defend these fatal traps that the other guys are going to do. Because it really stinks when you're winning and then you make one mistake and you get pinned. So we want to make sure we know how to not get pinned so we can stay alive in the match and have a fighting chance. And then after that, then we start to bring things together. So we've got red on one end, we've got green on one end, red on the other. And then we start to bring them together with our yellow and our orange. So we would start working on our yellow positions. We would say, what are all the ways that I know how to get into my 2-on-1? Because if I've got this one attack, I want to expand this. I don't want just one bucket. I want to start funneling with more and more ways to get into my 2-on-1. Wrestling language for this would be setup. So I want to understand what are my setups to my 2-on-1, right? So I've got, handcuff this thing and roll down into it. We have swat the thumb line and punch. A lot of this stuff is in our Greco hand fighting course because you learn a lot of these skills in Greco, and then we just tweak them just a little bit to get over into into freestyle stuff, okay? You see the same thing for single leg. I start to work on what are the ones that I know, and then I do it for double leg. What are the ones that I know? And then snap down for a headlock. I think everybody really has to have 2-on-1. Everybody has to have snap down for a headlock. They're going to be the two most common positions on both ends here, on the left side, the right side, and then single leg, double leg in the middle. We need all 4 of those. Once we understand the yellow positions and we start to do the same process that we used here, let's say I know 3. It's like, well, let's get exposed to all of the ones that the Ironclad team they put together all these techniques for us. Let's go home and watch something. Let's not watch Instagram. Let's not watch TikTok. Let's not watch what the algorithm's feeding me. Let me go study my position that I need to learn. I just expand. I go, wow, that's so cool. And I know that when I go home and watch this technique online, tonight I'm going to be better. I'm going to get better. I'm going to show up tomorrow and I'm going to win. I'm going to practice these techniques on my opponents. And you're going to see this really quick feedback loop where when I'm intentional in what I study, that it immediately carries over. And you're going to start seeing guys go home and study. When they figure out that they can watch this and then go home and study and then come back tomorrow and beat the guy that was beating them yesterday, like that is legit. That is a loud and potent feedback loop that empowers them. Empower them. Everybody's obsessing about what we do in the 2 hours a day. Equip them to do these things in the other 22 hours a day. So they expose hey, what are all the possibilities out of 2-on-1? What are all the possibilities out of single leg? All the possibilities out of double leg, front headlock. They don't have to know all of them, but they want to be familiar with them, because as they're learning the offense for that, they're also being exposed to what that guy might do to them, right? And then we would do the same thing for underhook, okay? For our orange positions. And so we have this kind of written here. You can see like neutral grips and ties, right? There's takedown defense here. These single leg on the mat. What are these orange positions? Grounded here, okay? And then on bottom. And so you just kind of see these. Again, ideas for orange positions is like underhook defense. I'm in an underhook. He has an underhook and I'm defending it. He has a 2-on-1 and I'm defending it. I have my head down. That's very much from neutral, right? In our orange positions on takedown defense he's got a single leg on us on the mat. He's got a single leg on us standing. He has a single leg standing in the air, or he's in on the double leg. Those would be takedown defensive positions that we've discussed and videoed and filmed how to counter. They're in a lot of our pro series, okay? And these exist in other places on methods as well. The grounded position here, grounded would be he's in on a leg and we're on the mat. So we're in crackdown defense here, okay? Or we're in waterfall. He shot in on us and we started sprawling up over him. He gets our feet and our butt in the air and our heads down the mat. It could be front head defense. Here, he's got us in a front headlock and we're defending, okay? Or we're in the trenches underneath. We've taken a shot underneath this guy and we've gotten stuck. So these are the grounded positions. If you're in freestyle, it's grounded language, okay? And then on bottom, we added a bunch more over here. We see half defense. This guy's got a half on me. He's got a claw on me. They're not red positions yet, but they have the potential to turn red. Okay, so he's got a half on me. He has a claw on me. He has far elbow on me. He has a chicken wing. He has a cross wrist. He has an inside wrist on top, okay? He has a leg in. He has a head lever, right? He's got a head lever here. He's on an ankle ride. He's riding us, or he's flanked our ankle on top, okay? These are all positions that are orange that if we don't do something about them, they're going to very quickly lead to some red positions like hammerlock, like flattened out with a single boot in, like the guy has two boots and we're broken down flat, like he has a chicken wing or a half or a cradle, and especially if we're broken down flat or he's locked up, he's got the wing and the wrist, a wing and some type of hook, a half and some type of hook. This is going to be bad news. He's got both of our hands trapped, right? Or cradle, he's got this cradle locked up. These are red positions that we really got to know how to wrestle out of. This is like the house is on fire and we have to know what to do. We can't panic in those situations. We have to get there and become literate in it and understand what is the way out. If we're on our back, really with anything, we need to understand how to wrestle and how to get off our back. If we're in a headlock or a cow catcher, these are all really obvious red positions. And so we start to understand that red positions are the opposite of green positions. Orange positions are the opposite of yellow positions, right? And we start to look at what all those things are, okay? And so this kind of becomes a map. This is like level one. And so what we would do is we would look at this and say, where are the weak links? When you're a kid in practice, like where is he falling short, right? He's got a great, I'm over here I'm still on my offense. Let me jump back over to signature offense. I'm sorry. I'm going, this is where I mapped out this would be my offense. I'll use underhook 2-on-1 single leg front head. Let me get back to signature offense. I'm so sorry. It's all the same stuff on top, but I just have 2-on-1 single leg, double leg, front headlock. This is, again, what we were calling signature. But the yellow, orange, red stuff here is purely all the same. So once we start to fill this in, okay, we would say, hey, where do I need more work? And this is a menu of understanding, and the athlete is empowered. Let's not tell them what to do. Ask them what they need. This is completely liberating as an athlete because there's some freedom, and we say, hey, well, here's what we recommend. Here's where there's like, okay, well, if that's the possibility, don't you think if you've got a good single leg and you feel like you can score, if you're getting your single leg and you can't score, then you need to work on your finishes, right? But when you get to your single leg, you're able to score, and then you can get on but you can't pin it. Well, then we need to work on top. We need to work on our pinning positions on top. But then when you get to, I can do my single leg, I can finish it, and then I can pin you, I know If I just get to single leg, now I can pin you. So if the conversation becomes, what are more ways to get to my single leg? I just got to get to my single leg because it's my best attack, right? But you might take the single leg away, so I might have to double leg you, might have to front headlock you, might have to do a 2-on-1. So I can't just have this. I have to have this balanced approach, which is an attack to both legs, an attack to the head, and then an attack through the arms, okay? I like 2-on-1 better than underhook. Underhook is also great, but 2-on-1 is going to be far more dynamic than underhook. But underhook, I think, would be the next thing that you add to this, okay? Just to say that out loud to you guys. And so, are you getting to orange positions and you're getting beat? Are you getting pinned? Like, where are you losing? Are you losing in green positions, yellow positions, orange positions, red positions? Where are you losing traction? Where is the weak link in your assembly line, right? As Elon would say, the assembly line, the production line. I'm trying to get anywhere you are on the map. I'm trying to get you to the outcome, which is you pinning the guy. And so we just work on what is holding you back from being great. Okay, so that's kind of the idea, the 40,000 foot view of signature offense, where this moves on to other things like our triangles and stuff that you've seen. This is so then we would move on and say, instead of what you had 14 attacks out of your 2-on-1 or your single leg, whatever, we say, what are the three? What are the main three that you want that create a dilemma or a trilemma? We want to whittle this down. Instead of having 14 and over having paralysis by analysis, we want to speed up our things. So we want to really dial this in, and we develop what are our three. This is the beginning of a playbook. This is the beginning of run, pass, option offense. So it's the beginning of when you have two, you have a dilemma. And when you have all three, you have a trilemma. There's a trilemma here, right? Dilemma. When I add the third one, it becomes a trilemma here, okay? And so we go, what are our three for our 2-on-1? What are our three for our single leg? What are our three for our double leg? What are our three for our front headlock? We make sure that we've whittled those things down, and we start dialing in level 2 of this 40,000 foot view that we call match planning, okay? That we call match planning would be, and really we would write this as like programming and everything else, okay? Helping understand where are the constraints in your game. We get to the playbooks, okay? So we've identified what are our three, and we make, there's intelligent decisions about that. We want to attack to both legs or both sides of the body and the head, okay? We think that's really important. Then you would do the same thing effectively. So we've said 2 is 1, 1 is none, 3 is starts to become ironclad. We would do the same thing. We could take the same thing and do it for top, so that when I get a wing or I get a half or I get a far elbow, that I create a dilemma or I create a trial, right? And so I have a thing back here. Here's one where we were writing spiral jam, back control, like 4 positions on top, and we were getting ready to map all that out for you guys, okay? Our dynamic and dominant top playbook has a lot of this in it. The dynamic and dominant top playbook on methods is really what you're looking at here, okay? There's so much of this. We filmed the cross wrist playbook the other day, which is kind of the new playbook, and we're going to have that uploaded. We'll get that uploaded for you guys sometime this month. We had an error with it, so we have to refilm it. The audio didn't take right or something. I don't even know what happened, thanks to technology, but this is gross. So when you start to develop dilemmas on top, dilemmas and trilemmas on top. So creating dilemmas and trilemmas from neutral, or I would just say from our attacks, dilemmas and trilemmas from our green positions. You can do this from neutral, and you can do this from top. That's a whole nother journey. That's a whole nother level. So depending on where you are in your wrestling journey, maybe you already know a lot of moves, and we're getting them in dilemmas and trilemmas. The next tier would be that we map the reads, which helps us understand the relationship between this. This is what we're doing when we pull out our big triangle board, okay, and we start going through that process. When we call something a playbook, we're saying, these are the 3 that we recommend, and here are the reads that tell me what to do. We've already broke down this position for you in great detail, and here's what we recommend based off of our understanding, that there's 14 options or more, whatever it is, right? We say, here's 10, 12, 14 great options. Here's the 3 we recommend. If you trust us, if you want to do this on your own, you can do it on your own. Make it your own. That's everything, okay? But here's what we recommend. So that's level 2, is that we develop the reads. This is how you get into real performance stuff, because if you're thinking about moves, it still is what we would call linear thinking, where you're like, I'm trying my best move, I try my next best move, I try my next best move. And as that goes down, like it creates problems, right? As you move down the ladder on your moves, you're using some move that you're a 6 at against a guy who's an 8 or a 9, you're going to lose, okay? So we want to stick to our 3 best moves and create a problem for the other guy. As we start attacking with move 1, 2, or 3, we say, I'm attacking, I'm asking a question, can I have the single leg? And you say no, and so that turns into snap down, okay? The meat hooks playbook that we have online, if you look at the meat hooks playbook, it's going to be these 3 funnels, these 3 positions, okay? And they are, it's the attack. It's the single leg, double leg, snap down. And we mapped that whole thing and everything, the 3 attacks and the finishes from the single leg, the finishes from the double leg, the finishes from the front headlock that we recommend.
We'll pull it up and
we'll go to that in a minute. We can look at that later, but that's the idea. You're going to see that there. When you see that triangle all mapped out, that's what you're looking at. And that's how it fits in the 40,000 foot view. Okay. So that's how it works. Okay. And then the 2-on-1 is what we recommend. Once you have those playbooks, once you understand you're going to notice that these key terms are going to repeat again and again and again, because it's a web of truth that all is connected. It's all connected. Okay. That's what makes this so hard, is we're trying to make something that is highly dynamic fit on a 2-dimensional page so that it's easy for us to look at and understand. So we have to really zoom back like we are here to look at that. Okay. And then the next leg of the journey. So once you've got, let's say, great meat hooks playbook, then we're looking at all the other grips that would funnel into single leg, double leg, snap down. And what you're going to eventually see is that with our system, that there's all, if you do it the way, you're going to see that all of the entries, all these things can be turned into a single leg, a double leg, or snap down. All the grips, whether you have a 2-on-1 or an underhook or a front headlock, or you're in a quad pod, right? Or you've got meat hooks pin elbow, or you have elbow control, or you go bicep pass, or you go hand roll, or you're in open space, or you go bop bop, or post collar knee. They're all of these things, okay, are the system. If you look at the Takedown Encyclopedia, you're going to see a lot of the footwork that we use that makes that possible. It's a different language, different vocabulary that describes how we move and makes this possible. We've even talked about updating that and doing it again, but the idea is that these tools and these techniques start to multiply. You learn one tool and it works on your single leg, your double leg, your snap down, your 2-on-1. It works, it's more true, it's more applicable. So we want to carry tools that apply in more places. They're less marginal and more widely applicable, okay? And so that starts to move us out. What I kind of talked about, I'm going to go back up here to my notes, right? And so, because once we've created dilemmas and trilemmas, and from neutral, we could literally do that whole process again from top. That's really what I was talking about, is that we do it again from top position, okay? And so this is where I'm talking about, like, this is an endless runway where we can lay down and pave new understanding. We can pave new content. We can lay this down so that you understand, okay, cool, what are all the options? You can see the roadmap, and then you can pick what you want to for yourself, okay? Here's the signal. Here's the signal that really makes this make sense, okay? Everyone in wrestling is saying you got to chain wrestle, right? But then they also say you got to wrestle your style. You got to wrestle your style. Wrestle your style. Wrestle your style, right? And then beyond that, they even say, hey, listen. Like, good coaches will tell you, hey, make this your own. Now, this is how I do it. Make it your own. Make it your own. When they're teaching, they say, make it your own. And so there's some early signal, right? If that's what you're hearing and you're like, I'm trying to figure out what that means, you're hearing that, it's signal. That's when you're ankle deep in the water, and then we're inviting you in. If you're hearing that stuff right now, hey, you got to wrestle your style. You're ankle deep. You might even be getting into the knee deep land, okay? We want you to keep coming. The next of what we'd say is, hey, Marcus wrestles different than Jake, okay? Jake wrestles different than that guy. Make sure you wrestle your style. Make it your own, right? Make it your own. Your name's different than his name. Make it your own, okay? Because you're 106 pounder, you're 26 pounder, you're 52 pounder, right? And you're 95 pounder, you're heavyweight. They're all going to wrestle different. They're all different body styles. They're all different. They have different names, the different style, okay? So we say, hey, be you, your name, okay? I really learned this lesson again about your name, okay? So even if someone has the same name, it's still not the same as your signature on that thing, okay? One time I got sued. Someone forged my name on a contract. It was this crazy experience, and I was like, Lord, why am I doing this? And I've often thought that, like, Lord, why am I in this situation? So someone wrote my exact name, right? They spelled it all out, okay? and I take it to a handwriting expert, and he was like, yeah, this is really obvious. Here, let me show you. And he said, he showed that there's an art, there's a science to it, just like coaching wrestling. And he was like, with 99.99%, he said we're not. I can't ever say with 100%. That would be like that's just naive to say with 100%. But he said I would say on the stand in court, he said with 99.99% certainty that this is not his signature, right? And if you're looking at the two side by side, or the 10 examples compared to the one that was presented, you're like, oh yeah, this is very clearly forged, okay? And so, like, even if you have the same name, your signature is another level of understanding. Put your signature on this thing. Your signature is going to include your attitude, your beliefs. It's like, are you fast twitch or slow twitch? Are you tough and simple-minded? Are you less tough? Are you a thinker, right? Are you very tactical, right? Are you an intellectual? Like, how are you? Are you aggressive? Are you not aggressive? Like, there's all these things that make it your signature, okay? And then most recently, I heard this by Jamie Winship. Jamie Winship has an incredible book called Living Fearlessly, and it's perhaps the most. It's perhaps the book that has changed my life the most. All the books I've read, I think it's had the greatest impact on me. And I'm not when I'm learning something new, it's kind of like drilling a single leg. I have to do it again and again and again and again, and start to make sure that I'm really starting to get it, and I'm trying to get it into my DNA. I don't want to just be exposed to the idea. I want to get it in my DNA. We want to go from level 1 to level 4. That I don't know, unconscious incompetence, to conscious. Level 2 is I know I don't know. I'm aware that I don't know. That I go, it's conscious incompetence. We talked about that recently on some content we put out. Then level 3 is conscious competence, and something like 70 to 90%. I don't remember the stats now. Like, the highest level of understanding for them is conscious competence. So I know that I know. Become aware, but then eventually it becomes in your DNA. It becomes unconscious competence. I don't know that I know. I do without thinking. So we're trying to move up that ladder. And so what's important is we have to have this map. We have to have this map so we can begin to have understanding that goes deeper. We need to understand what is the way, and it's constraint theory. Okay? And so ultimately, Jamie teaches. So I had to read this book again and again. I've probably read it at the least, I would say 4 to 6 times as I've just completed the book, because I just keep kind of like trying to draw a straight line. You just kind of sketch. You keep repeating until you're able to extend that line kind of loosely out. If you're, maybe you guys can draw a straight line. I can't draw a straight line, so I can't draw at all. But you get that, you're sanding that groove again and again. And in this book, it's helped me to understand identity. And he talks about living in your true identity, not your false identity. So real authenticity is what we understand, like where we really are, when we're not pretending to be someone else, who we really are today. And the world craves authenticity. And I've always said, like, we're drawn to authentic. We want to be authentic. We love people who are authentic. They're not putting on this false image, okay? They're not pretending to be someone they're not. The false is who the enemy says we are. The false is when we lose, when we don't have understanding, when we start to lean into this false identity. So if you don't have a plan forward, okay, and you've been working harder, and eventually you get red-pilled. And I tell the story about when I got red-pilled, because for 5 years of my career, I'd been doubling down on hard work again and again. And then I eventually realized it was not about working harder. I had to start working smarter. I had to figure out what is the truth, what are the answers, what is the way forward, okay? And that's why I've become so obsessed with this, because if you don't have a clear path, a clear understanding forward, you're going to eventually have an identity crisis, okay? And I know that because as a young man who was obsessed with wrestling, I loved it. I felt the joy of the Lord when I was doing it, even though I didn't understand that's what it really was. I loved it. I loved what it was allowing me to do, because wrestling is a passport to the poor. They can make it to the top, right? If it's a clear invitation to run and do all the things you want to if you're in the middle class. It's where you learn about hard work and how to climb the ladder and move up to the next level, wherever it is that you want to be, whatever your goals are. But if you're in the upper class, okay, and you got this soft lifestyle, it's a gift to you. It's a gift to you because you learn about hard work. You learn about humility. You become humbled. And so what we want to do is be able to plant in the truth and sow in the truth. If you're wrestling, if you're wrestling and you don't know what to do next, you start to think that you're the problem, that you're not enough, that you can't. And that's the lie of the enemy. Wrestling is the only sport where living out fully your true identity, you're more than enough to do all of these incredible things. And I can tell that story with different athletes. And I wish if I could go back 15 years and with these different guys that I've coached, that I would have been better as a coach. I would have understood true identity. So Jamie says there's false, there's real where you are, and then true is who the Lord says you are, who God says you are. And He's inviting you deeper into the water, your true identity. When you get to the end of yourself and your mind opens up and you realize I've got all these hopes and dreams and this ambition that's flowing from you. You wish and you hope and you dream that you could do a certain thing. And then the enemy shows up and is like, you can't do that because of this and this and this and this, right? So we want to make sure that we're sowing into our athletes the truth and we're helping lean into their identity. We're giving them understanding, because if they don't have a path forward and they don't have understanding, there's no access to the truth, then that's room for the enemy to work its lies. We got to open the door. We need to shine the light. We need to give these guys access that here is the path forward, the same way that Christ has done for us, okay? He says, my word is like a lamp to your feet, and we want the truth of how to be better. We want them to understand this 40,000-foot view and the different levels and degrees of this. What is the way forward? What is the way forward so that you as a coach can be equipped? And what is the way forward as we help our athletes understand so that they take ownership and that they can be creative? They can work through this problem solving, and they learn not just what to think, but how to think, okay? And so that's my prayer for you today, is that you understand from a 40,000-foot view how we take this would be match planning. And then I think what I would say is the level beyond this is as you develop this match plan, it's always going to be evolving, but this is where all the science, the crazy science about visualization is here, because you can be looking at this. Once it's in your language, it's in your words, your vocabulary, you can be looking at this and you can visualize. You can wrestle. Visualization is a key, is a secret at the highest level, but it's not being done correctly. It's not being done well. Actually, I think that basically everything that all the high performers out there, I know who teaches visualization, and they're doing a great job, but there's a better than that was written in the kingdom, okay? So better than, and this is the answer where we can visualize. It creates a checklist for us to visually wrestle through and walk through and become confident, because we've walked this road and we know that we know so much about it. When this is oozing out of you and you know it so well, there's no way you get into a match and you don't believe you can win. Because even when you're down by 10, you see a way that you can win, right? You see a way forward. And so I hope this today helps you. I know it's a lot. It's really a lot. And the challenge is to talk to people, whether you're in Ezekiel 47, it says it talks about ankle and knee and hip and chest deep. And it says, keep on coming so you can be swimming in the waters, swimming in the living, healing waters. And wherever you are in your wrestling journey, whether you're ankle, knee, hip, chest deep, or you're already swimming, we want to be able to speak to where you are and then invite you forward, okay? And so wrestling helps us to understand these things. It's really the platform for us to learn, to own our faith. Okay, and I may not be, I don't know where even you are in your spiritual walk, right? But by understanding physical warfare, we're able to understand spiritual warfare. That's this whole other crazy thing. Right now, you as a school teacher, as a coach, wherever you are, your job, your assignment is to bear some fruit. You want to help equip these guys so they can have success. You protect them from identity crisis. You help them understand that, man, like by being long and flexible, like Coach Marcus, or by being really athletic, or by being, not super athletic, but you're tough and you're gritty and you're a thinker. Like whatever your identity is, whatever skills you have, there's a road map for success. You don't have to win the whole war. You don't have to win every battle. You just got to win the right battle, because the right battle puts you in a finishing position, an opportunity to pin that guy. And there's nothing like that. When you provide that experience for an athlete, they're going to get a dopamine rush like never before. And that's how you hook them. They're in on the journey to self-discovery, to learning and becoming better, like wrestling teaches us all. Okay, so let me pray for you guys, man. Awesome call today. I hope you guys receive so much life from it. Lord, we love you so much, God. We humbly come before you today. God, we're so thankful for who you are and how you are. Thank you for the instructions that you gave us. Thank you for the instructions you gave us. Thank you for the many men, the many leaders the many people in their own industry who you put on their hearts to write books, to give us, to put out their training, to help us understand, to give us signal that this is the way forward. If we not had those early invitations on the outskirts in certain books talking about what to do and how to do it, when we were chasing winning, when I was still chasing winning, when we were all still chasing winning, if we didn't have those early signals, we would have never made it here. And so I just pray that as people travel that road, they're traveling, they're on the outskirts. They're like, man, that kind of sounds cool, but I pray they would just continue to swirl. They would continue to swirl and hang out and draw closer and closer to the center. They would continue to lean into the center, lean into what we're teaching and saying, because there's access, there's power in the truth of how this training works, and it's applicable to everyone, God. We know that it's applicable to everyone, not because I came up with it, I didn't, but because it's your plan, it's your model, and we've seen that in so many places. So thank you for all the signs and signal all around to help us to understand that this is the way, and I thank you for that you continue to speak into us and teach us and show us the way forward, God. Help us to equip leaders and equip coaches all around the country, all around the world, Father, so that they can help disciple and lead young men. They can help invite them to understand their true identity, that we can take back ground in the battleground for language over what identity is. We take back ground on what men look like, and what a strong masculine man looks like, what it looks like to be a man like Jesus, who is fully capable but was calm and loving and gracious. Help us to understand what that looks like. Help us to disciple others and invite them in. Whether we say that language out loud, right, Father, I just pray that, or whether we just walk it out, I pray we'd walk it out first. Help us to walk it out first as leaders, and then invite people forward based on where they're. Help us to understand where they are in their journey and invite them forward. Help us to use wrestling as a vessel, as the seed that we get to sell on. And I thank you for what you're creating here at Ironclad as a vessel on the sea, to help make young men battle ready, to carry them forward from where they are to where they want to go, to help train them up in the way they should go, train them up and equip them, make them skilled, and take them from where they are to where you want them to go, Father. We have no expectation on what they do with wrestling. We just lay it out for you to speak into them and to draw them forward, invite them forward into qualifying decisions, qualifying roles, so that they can live out their true purpose, God, as we become, we live in our true identity, we come forward, we walk forward and become who you called us to be, then we will be able to do what you called us to do, just like the story of David. God, thank you for Jamie Winship most recently, who's helped us to have so much understanding of this. Thank you for speaking to us through him and his work. Thank you for the Holy Spirit. Thank you for the amazing team that we have here at Ironclad that are trying to do this work. God, I pray that you would multiply our efforts so we can have a greater reach into the kingdom, and a greater reach to people that are outside of the kingdom, a greater reach to people that are just coming for winning, that we would bear much fruit, our athletes would bear much fruit, so they would come looking for winning and they would get you. We pray that in the mighty, mighty name of Jesus, Father. Thank you for your Son, Jesus. Thank you for your Son, Jesus, and the work he did on the cross for us. Help us to be more like him in every way, because he's the greatest leader in the history of the world. We thank you for that, Father. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, man, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank y'all for being with us here, if you still are. We love you guys. It's our honor to teach this to you. It lights us up. It lights us up. I believe it's so important, because I was once a young man that did not have understanding. I did not have a clear path forward. I was surrounded by so many good men, but they didn't have access to the complete truth. They were doing the best they could, but there wasn't a clear path. There wasn't a book. There wasn't a way forward. And so, the Bible says it's the living, breathing Word of God. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. The Word was with God. And so it's our way to understand the truth. It's our book of instructions, and it's a book of love letters. It's not a book of law. It's a book of instructions. It's a book of love letters on how to do everything. And so we want there to be a book of instructions. We want there to be a place where athletes can look and see and understand the way. We want to walk in the way. We want to be an example of the way, because there's so many false prophets out there as coaches that are not doing it the way it should be done. They're not doing it well. They're chasing trophies. They're chasing their own self-status. It's all about them. It's not about the athlete. And so we just want to replace that by giving people access to the truth. We want to help them be equipped wherever they are. If they don't have access to great training, we want to provide that to them at this crazy affordable rate. so they don't struggle and suffer from identity crisis. We want to deploy this in schools and teams all around the country because there's a better way forward. We believe there's a new church being born in that. And as a wrestler, I know these great, crazy, critical moments that I was struggling with an identity crisis, although I didn't know what it was. And thank the Lord that I had the courage and endurance to persevere on. In Genesis 32, Jacob wrestled the angel, and he was blessed. There was a transformation. There was a name change. There was an identity change. There was a blessing because he persevered. Because he persevered. And so it says he would not let go. He persevered. And so we know that through if you persevere, that our athletes will be transformed again and again and again. And so we want to help them do that, but we want to invite them to keep taking the next steps so that they can run all the way to the top of the mountain, not just get a little higher than everybody else on the mountain. And so, man, I hope today helps you and serves you well. Again, we just really, really love it, man. We'll continue to probably share some stories of our line, those stories, those moments that we experience as athletes ourselves and that we've seen in athletes that are at a very high level still. But like, man, what could they have done if we had just better equipped them? So our goal is to study and work hard and be better equipped ourselves, to equip you guys as coaches, to equip athletes all around the country and around the world. I don't speak good enough Spanish to teach them in Spanish, but we'll try to keep teaching them in English. Teach them in English in the meantime. Yeah, man. Hey, we love you guys. Y'all are awesome. This is something that I know needed to be done. We've had so many questions about it, and we just need to make some more sense of it. I think it's a way better understanding, and so we just invite everybody to check this out and have some understanding so that you can understand the way forward. As always, if you're a pro coach, hit us up, text us, call us. We want to connect with you and help guide you along that thing. And then what we would ask is that if you believe in this, invite others, tell others about it, help us connect with them. Call us, text us there, and let us know, hey, man, this guy is interested. He loves it. You guys call and do the sell. I don't want to sell this guy, but I've invited him. Why don't you call and talk to him? Because we want to equip everybody. So love you guys, man. Y'all are awesome. Incredible stuff today. So fun. We'll see you on the other side. Later, guys. Hey, if you enjoyed today's call, if you got value out of it, and if it helped you in any way, please go check out Ironclad Methods. There's a way to do that. You can go to ironcladmethods.com, or there's a link in our bio or probably somewhere underneath this video. Go check that out. We've done so much work for you, and we want to help you. There's so many things there, and you can get access to all of it for less than $1 a day, okay? Go check it out. We'll see you on the other side. Later.